In this episode today, I'm making farmhouse rustic churches, and I'm going to show you how simple and easy it is to create 4 or 5 of them and the way I decorate them for Christmas. Welcome, my darlings. I am C, and this is CJ DIY. I'm using this birdhouse gazebo purchased from Michael's long time ago. They're still selling it. I paid only $2 and some change. Before I stained it with antique wax, I removed the rope that it came with it on top. And now I'm just adding one of those cross cutouts from Dollartree. And I'm just gonna glue it on top and creating this beautiful gazebo into lantern church for Christmas. Also, I'm gonna be adding these laser cut doors and windows that I purchased from Amazon. The link is in my description box. I'm just adding a wood glue and I'm gonna glue it in one of those windows on the gazebo. I'm adding the door in front of the church, and I really like how it looks with all those details from the laser cut. I have a little bit of glue coming out of the door. I'm just removing it with a wipe. And now next to the door, I'm going to be adding 2 mini arch windows that are part of the set of all those doors and windows. There's so many of them. You can do so much with it. The only thing is the edges didn't fit through the glass on the next part of the church. So I'm just cutting it with my miter shear, just the edges, and I'm going to glue them right in the middle part. And look how perfect it's going to look. So after I cut them, I'm going to be adding a wood glue and just gluing them on the glass right in the middle part of it. And with adding this extra embellishment to this birdhouse gazebo, you just create a perfect church lantern for only a few dollars. So I would suggest for you to go to Michael's. Michael's always have those variety of those birdhouses, and they're very cheap. With the coupons, you can purchase these pieces for like $2. Add some embellishment. You can even paint them out white or whatever color you prefer, and you have a perfect, beautiful detail for Christmas. And just adding just the little details to it, you already have a perfect, unique look. Now to decorate it, as you can see, this gazebo is coming up like a tray on the bottom, just perfect to add some extra embellishment. I'm just adding these beautiful holly leaves with berries, and in the middle part I'm just adding these sparkly Dollartree candles. Those candles are new, I never see them before, and I just add it in the middle part. And with adding this beautiful red color, you have a nice, beautiful traditional lantern for Christmas. I'm using wooden blanks. Most of them are from Dollar Tree, the arrows and the house shape sign. The larger wooden shape is from Walmart, so I'm gonna put them all together into one large church. I just remove the chimney from one of the sign with a cutter, and now with the scissors I'm smoothing it up to be nice and smooth. And then the bottom part of this arrow, I'm just cutting it off with my miter shear because I don't need that part. And then I'm gonna put them all together. I'm using a sanding block to smooth it out. You can always be creative and create your churches in any way you like. And I wanted to try it this way with adding more arrow shapes and house shape blanks and see how it's gonna look. I added 2 arrows on the bottom and I'm gonna cover where the holes are on two of those arrows. The larger one will be on the middle part, then I'm gonna add the house sign on top, and then the larger longest arrow is gonna be on top, and we're gonna have couple of levels of a church. Now with the wood glue, I'm gonna connect them together, and then I'm gonna add some clips to make it nice and sturdy, and after that we're gonna embellish it. Now that I got my whole pieces nice glued and sturdy, I'm gonna paint them with a White Swan DIY paint. I gave it a 2 good coats, and now it's time for embellishment. I'm using again my stamps, IOD Portobello Road stamps, and I'm adding lights in front of my church. So I'm adding one light on one side, and then I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side in front of the entrance of the church. You can always be creative and add any kind of embellishment for your decor, and this time I decided to go with my stamps. For shingles of my roofs, I decided to add more stamps from this collection. And first I wanted to add it with a black ink, and then I'm gonna paint it out. I just wanted to see how it's gonna look before I paint it out. And I added shingles on one side and then on the other side. With adding those shingles, we get more richer look to my church. Now I'm adding the lady who's ready to go to church for Christmas Eve, all nice and dressed up with her hat and fancy dress. On the other side, there is this cute boy happy to enter the church with singing the song about Christmas Eve and celebrating the birth of Jesus. For doors and windows, I'm using the same laser wooden cutouts that I used on my previous churches. And previously, I stained them with antique wax, and now I'm just gluing them. I'm adding a vintage door with these arch windows on each level and making this church so realistic looking. On the top, I'm just adding another laser cutout from Dollartree. And now I'm gonna work with the roofs. I'm adding more shingles with the stamps, and then I'm gonna paint them over just to add more colors to this church. And now I'm just adding a crimson chalk paint from Folk Art on my roofs and covering them with it. And then we're gonna add another layer of these stamps shingles just to give more texture to the roofs. I'm also adding these lanterns beside the windows just to give more details to the church. As I mentioned, you can always be creative. Dollartree is selling amazing stamps and stickers as well. You can add those to your churches and create a beautiful, unique piece. Now when the paint is dry on the roofs, I'm just adding the shingles with the black ink, and I'm also gonna distress the shingles just to get that rustic vintage look to it. And I think this church looks so perfect with these colors. I think just adding the extra little bit of red, it gives a special look to it. Also next to the doors, I'm adding planters so we can make this cute topiary for the nice decor entry for Christmas for the church. I took some IOD berries branches and I'm adding them on top of the planters, and I'm creating a perfect topiary for a Christmas decor. I'm just using my scraper to transfer them on, and that's it for this church. Also off camera, I added a clear DIY wax on my church to seal it, and here how it looks. Let me know what do you think about this church. Also, on top of the arch window, as you can see, there is this golden star. I made it out of those IOD molds with a clay, and I painted with a gold paint. And here is closer look to the church. I'm using this larger house-shaped sign from Dollartree. I grabbed a couple of them because I really like this sign. And now I'm going to reconstruct this one. I'm going to remove the paper with a wet towel. I'm going to leave it on the side until the whole paper is removed, and then I can work on it. Now that I remove the paper, I'm going to cut off the chimney because I don't need it with a cutter, and then smooth it out with a scissor and a sanding block. And then we're going to add more wooden blanks. I'm using another Walmart wooden house shape. And then for the third level, I'm going to be adding this new house shape wooden piece from Dollar Tree. It came with a balcony. I just removed those pieces because I just need the house shape with the roof. I really like how the roof looks for this one. And now I'm just gonna connect them together. So it's gonna have a 3-level with a wood glue and the clips. I'm just gonna make them into one piece. Very simple but different kind of church this time. Now when they're all nice and glued together, I'm painting it with a faded burlap. I gave it a 2 good coats, faded burlap DIY paint, and also I'm painting the sides with it and the roofs. And now I'm adding a painter's tape so I can paint the roofs. I'm also adding the original pieces for the roof on the large sign. I'm gonna glue them with a wood glue back together before I paint them. And then, as I mentioned, I'm adding painter's tape on each levels so we don't have a bleed through. And I'm gonna be adding this faded wood color from DIY paint, and I'm gonna cover the roofs with it. I really like how this came together with a faded burlap and then this brown color, faded brown color on it. And now I'm just gonna go again with the windows and doors, and look how many pieces it came with it. I really love these laser wood cutouts, and they were not very expensive, only a couple of dollars, but there's so many of them. And I want to see which of those I'm gonna use before I glue them. I'm also staining them with a White Swan DIY paint. I'm adding the paint and then I'm wiping it off with a wipe so I can get that stained rustic look. And then I'm gonna glue them to the church. I'm adding this beautiful octagon window shape on top, and then I'm adding another arch window on the second level, and then we're gonna add a different kind of shape arch windows on my first level with the arched door, rustic door, and this church is gonna look like it's from the 4th century. I'm also adding another octagon window between those 2 arch windows that I added. And now I'm adding more stamps. I'm adding topiaries, but this time I'm keeping them simple. I'm just adding 2 topiaries on the side, and then we're gonna add some bricks to the whole church. I'm adding the shadow mask for the stamps that I did, and now I'm just adding bricks. Those bricks doesn't need to be perfect. I just need to give extra texture to the church. So I'm just adding a mask, and then for the doors and the windows, I'm adding the duplicate wooden pieces that I have. So I don't have a bleed through from the ink. so I can cover the doors that I previously glued. And I'm going over the whole 3 levels with those bricks. If you don't have a brick stamps like this, you can always use one of those scrapbook sheets. Those craft stores always selling those bricks sheets that you can add, and then on top you can add some windows and doors, and you can have a similar church like this. I mean, the sky is the limit. You can be creative as much as you want and adding extra embellishment to any piece that you create, and you have a high-end look at the end. It was a little bit of tricky to add those bricks at the corners on top of those churches, but it worked well, I think. Now that I have it all, I'm gonna just distress them with the sanding block so I can get that vintage rustic look to it. I also added a DIY clear wax to it for sealing, and that's it for this church. Simple but beautiful. Also on top, I'm adding another cutout cross from Dollartree. I painted with a white paint, and that's it. I'm also showing you this church that I made last year. I'm gonna have a link in my description box if you like to see how I made it. And also, I made this church a while ago, but I want to remind you how I did it. I grabbed those mini arch window pieces from Hobby Lobby. I used 10 of them, and then I'm using this wood plank on the bottom. I thrifted that piece, and I'm gluing those arch windows into shape of oval piece. When I got the look that I like, I just added a wood glue and I glued them together, and I created architectural, beautiful design, old-time century church. On the edges around the windows, I just added a half wooden beads. Also on top, I added this half ring of a frame from Dollartree. I added a big cross and another cross in the middle with a wooden plank, and that's it. To decorate my church, I'm gonna create a nativity set with Joseph, Mary, and baby Jesus, wooden cutouts, and a Merry Christmas cutout. All those are from Dollartree. And on top, I'm gonna add just a large laser cut from Dollartree star. I'm gonna glue them all together. I didn't paint them because I like this different color of wood, neutral look. And now I'm gonna decorate it. I'm adding a frosted wreath inside. I'm adding my nativity scene in the middle, and then behind that I'm gonna add some frosted berries and some LED candle inside on the back part. And that's it for this beautiful rustic vintage church. I also added those brush Christmas tree beside the tray, wooden tray on my church, and it looks perfect. Add more elements to the churches that I made today. I'm making a sign with this tag that I previously painted with a burlap paint. I'm adding more stamp from the IOD Portobello Road collection, and I'm adding this architectural door stamp in the middle part, and then I'm adding more planters next to it, and we're gonna add some lanterns on top, and we're gonna cover the whole tag with the bricks like I did for the church previously. It is so much fun working with these IOD stamps and creating different art pieces, except your fingers will be a mess from this ink. But it's worth it. Now that I cover it with the bricks, I'm gonna decorate my sign. I'm adding antique wax to my door, and I'm gonna just wipe it off because I don't want that dark look to it. I just want the rustic, worn out look. So with a wipe, I'm just removing it after I cover it all. For extra embellishment, I'm adding IOD transfers, those Christmas collection bouquets, and I'm gonna add them on top of the topiaries and on the bottom of the lanterns. And with this, we're giving some colors to my tag, and we're gonna add some ribbons and some frosted berries on the top, and you're gonna see the difference and how beautiful this tag sign look. And because I didn't use the whole bouquet piece from the transfer, the leftover, I'm gonna use on one of the lantern, and I'm gonna repeat the same process on the other side as well, so we can have a matching decorations on both sides in front of my door and on top of the door with the lanterns. To get the worn out look, I sand it out with a sanding block. And now, as I mentioned, I just created a simple 2-loop bow. I made it I added a line, and with this sparkly ribbon, it just gives such a beautiful rustic traditional look for Christmas. And then adding these frosted picks with berries, and that's it. Look how beautiful it looks. I made one of those tags on my previous video and people love that, so I made another one of these to make a perfect match for my churches. And here is the final reveal from the churches that I made today. I hope I gave you inspirations for you to make something out of wood plank and create a beautiful traditional look into Christmas. And if you like this content and my channel, and for more inspirations, you can always like, share, and subscribe my channel, because I got so much more Christmas content and home decor coming up in few days. And until next time, my darlings, I'm sending you lots of love, lots of music, positive energy, blessings from me to you. Bye-bye.